You don't know the power of the dark side. The power of the dark side. You don't know the power of the dark side. You don't know the power of the dark side. You don't know the power of the dark side. Don't know the power.
Welcome, fellow nerds, creatures of the night, aliens, gray or green, reptilian, however the fuck you want to call
Gamers.
it. This is the very first episode of our little fellowship of nerds that,
The Fellowship of the Nerds?
the Fellowship of the Nerds.
I fucking like
that. Sounds
that.
like a Tolkien.
We might just
Sounds like a Tolkien book.
Tolkien book, maybe.
But we are here on the first episode to talk to you about Star Wars.
Yes.
Before we get started, we want to remind you that this is going to be full of spoilers. Absolutely full of spoilers.
You know,
so if you haven't seen The Force Awakens, which is very sad if you haven't seen The Force Awakens by now.
What the fuck are you doing with your life?
It is officially 2016. Not sure when we're gonna air this, but if you haven't seen it by now, something you're hiding in a rock in Salt Lake City. That's my guess. But a few things you are gonna have to know about us. We are nerds, of course, but we follow the rule of the 3 S's. The 3 S's are: we smoke, we swear, and we are so sorry that we're not sorry. But That's our official rules for this podcast. We like to smoke and we like to swear a lot. I personally am the son of a sailor, so there's a lot of S's I'm swaying around in there, but you know.
We just want to keep it funky, and we hope that you do too.
Yep. Keep it going. Have a nice, good discussion.
We aren't professionals by any means. We like to think we're knowledgeable in the topics that we discuss. Personally, I'll be moderating this one because I'm kind of the noob here as far as Star Wars goes, but I am a big fan, so I will put my 2 cents in otherwise. Let's get into introductions. I will start. My name is Shane, local here, Muskegon, Michigan. I prefer all types of different aspects of nerddom, from video games to anime to cartoons. Yeah, I kind of spread a little bit everywhere. I'm a social butterfly as far as nerddom comes. So I welcome you guys here in the green room where my band does all our recording. The band is called Jack Napier's Brand X. Go check them out. And that's all I got to say about that. Kick it over to Al.
Oh, hey, well, check it out. I'm Alan, local cat here in town, big time nerd. Play a lot of video games, build a lot of computers. That's my passion, if you will. And I don't know, just been a long time nerd. I watch a lot of movies, listen to a lot of music, play a lot of games. It's my thing. Go ahead and pass it over to Randall.
Name's Randy. I'm also from Muskegon, Michigan, but I'm not really in town like these guys. I'm in the sticks. But that don't mean I can't be a nerd.
Actually, that kind of makes you more qualified because there ain't shit to do but go online and get fucking nerdy.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, I know a bunch about the DC and Marvel universe. Absolutely love Star Wars. Know quite a bit about that too. And I'm just here to talk it up, and hopefully we have some great conversations and theories that come out of this.
So, I'm going to be that guy right now. I'm going to tell you this. The first time I ever saw Star Wars, I'm just going to open it up with that. First time I ever saw Star Wars, my father got me out of school in 1999 and took me to see Phantom Menace.
Ooh.
That was my first exposure to Star Wars. Then
Most Star Wars fans, I hate to cut you off, but most Star Wars fans would actually give you a hug for that. Because they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry the Phantom Menace was your first exposure to Star
You
Wars.
started with the prequels, man.
but later on down the road, me and my father caught a screening of Empire Strikes Back when they were releasing the special editions of those.
So good.
And
Yes.
so my first real experience with Star Wars is Empire Strikes Back, but it's the one with all the 3D shit added.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
boo. But the movie
It's still
the
great.
movie was amazing. And it's still probably my favorite Star Wars film to date. Next to this one that came out.
Empire Strikes Back?
Empire Strikes
I
Back.
agree. I think Empire Strikes Back would be my favorite as well. A lot of people, they're really torn between that and Return of the Jedi, as discussed in the first
Ooh.
Clerks film.
Really? I don't know about Return. I like A New Hope more than Return.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
That's
the only-
interesting because not most people. It's kind of torn between Jedi and Empire.
Yes.
That's
See, the only part that bothered me about A New Hope was that they spent an hour on fucking Tatooine. Ain't shit happening. It's sand and bounty hunters.
Think about it like this too. Han is frozen in carbonite for like at least 45 minutes in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, the last 45 minutes. It's not like right at the beginning. The
No,
dude gets frozen.
Return of the Jedi, he is. You're talking Empire Strikes
Oh,
Back.
sorry.
well. We're gonna break down exactly what we're gonna do here. We're gonna talk about some theories, some very interesting theories, some very weird theories that I don't know if we want to
So
go that.
fucking mad.
Yeah, we don't. I don't know if they want to go that route, but that's totally up to Disney and Abrams. We have a couple top 3 lists that we're gonna give you. I was gonna ask what everybody's favorite Star Wars film is, but I believe I got that answer now. Right now I'm gonna basically kick it into talking about The Force Awakens. I saw it probably about 2-3 days after it opened, and holy shit, I was actually blown away. Mainly because of the fact that it kind of shows both aspects of the Force. It's kind of a very balanced film, and I think Abrams did very well with it.
He fucking killed it. Okay? let's be real here for a second. I'm just gonna kind of gush. Let's be fucking real. J.J. Abrams walked in there and was like, I rebooted Star Trek and I made that amazing. I'm gonna make this amazing. he walked in there and just fucking killed it though.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, I'm not afraid to admit I cried during the opening crawl.
Oh wow.
I was sobbing during the opening crawl. As soon as it said a long time ago, and I was done. I lost it. And then the pan down to the planet. It was so fucking killer.
And I got on, I believe it was IMDb, the opening weekend it grossed almost $250 million.
We contributed to that.
Yeah, well,
we went opening night.
So we went about 2 days after it opened. So
We took our time on a Thursday night to go see what is the midnight show here, because they don't do midnight showings since the shooting from The Dark Knight Rises, even though that's nowhere near us. But we went out at
It's gotta be guns,
8 o'clock and ended up having to go to a 10 o'clock one, but we still got to see it, one of the first showings of it, and it was amazing.
I sat at Pizza Hut's parking lot and froze my ass off waiting for... Because we went up there at our showing was at 7, and we went up there and it was sold the fuck out. And so the only tickets you could get was for 10 o'clock.
God damn.
And so we were like...
It's worth it.
We were like, damn, what do we do? And I looked at my gas tank, and I didn't have enough gas to get back out, because we're broke. We're in Muskegon. We're broke.
Here was the thing, 30-45 minutes before we actually got there, I had called just before we had left to make sure the tickets were still there, and they said they were. And by the time we had gotten to the movie theater, because like I said, I'm in the sticks, I'm a ways away from it, they were gone. So we ended up seeing it first night. May not have been the first showing, but we did get to see it right off the bat, and it was amazing. I loved the aspects, the balance in the Force, as Shane had said earlier, not just progression on the light side, but the struggle and progression towards the dark side.
We did get to share the theater with Interesting people, though.
Yes,
as you typically do in Muskegon, Michigan.
Yeah.
I remember watching Ghost Rider, the first Ghost Rider movie, Nicolas Cage, and somebody actually got kicked out for just screaming.
Was it the same dude?
It might have been. It very well might have been. You never know. But anyways, get back on topic.
Yeah, back on Star Wars.
I was very impressed with how J.J. Abrams took the Star Wars franchise and where they moved it to. Me personally, I personally have a theory that that Rey is Luke's daughter.
And I'm going to agree.
I really do.
There's no disagreement.
I mean, not only with the vision, a lot of people can chalk the visions of holding the lightsaber, the vision she saw, they could chalk that up to just being the Force. Her tapping
Force
into
showing her what
showing her what she needs to see, not necessarily drawing a lineage to Luke at all. But I really do believe that that when at the very end of the film where she finds Luke and presents him his lightsaber, I really think that look that he gives her is just like, holy shit, my daughter is the one to find me. I mean, I knew somebody would eventually find me. Who the hell thought it would be my daughter? And she's a Jedi, you know what I mean? That's the kind of look that Mark Hamill has. And speaking of Mark Hamill, I mean, that is so funny is that, I mean, I'm wondering how much money did he get?
He probably got a lot of cash.
And he didn't have any lines. There's no lines at all.
Nope, no dialogue, just a turn around and a surprised look.
And after a while, I expected him to not even be in it.
Huh?
I honestly, for a while, I expected him to not even be in the film. And then maybe see him as something like what they showed at the end as the end credit scene, or, you know, an Easter egg at the very, I don't know, or something. And honestly, I was happy to see that they at least put him in there for a split second.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I was very impressed with the entire cast, new and old especially, because the mix of it was very intriguing, and I was wondering how that was going to turn out. But
well, you know, honestly, the reason why Luke really wasn't in it, and it's kind of explained that, you know, the movie was more about Han.
Yeah, exactly.
And him dealing with Ben, also known as Kylo Ren, and it was Han's final chapter. While the movie is also about Rey and Finn and looking for Luke and all this other stuff, the movie's sort of centered on Han.
Yeah.
And it was about,
well, really the Han, Ben, Leia triangle.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
Because
and sort of Han and Rey's relationship too.
Because he was like a mentor towards her, and that kind of goes back to, you know, episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn dies in front of Obi-Wan, and then you got in 4, Obi-Wan dies in front of Luke, and now you have Han Solo dying in front of Rey.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice pattern. And from what I heard from local legend Slevin is that there are some people that are mad that this film was a lot like the original film, which I think is terrible and atrocious, because honestly, if it was the other way around, I honestly believe that there'd be a lot more people pissed because it wasn't like the original.
It's Star Wars. The first one of the new trilogy is always going to start the same way, okay? Phantom Menace started on Tatooine, and they discovered a kid who had Force, and it progressed from there. A New Hope starts on Tatooine. Okay, Luke finds out he has the Force. He's a Jedi. And then it goes from there. This one starts out on Jakku, a fucking desert. And it just, I mean...
That's another interesting thing. Did you notice that some of the stuff she was scavenging from was an AT-AT that she was basically sleeping next to?
Yeah.
She was
Her
sleeping.
home was an AT-AT, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would that make you think that planet wasn't always a sand planet? Make you think that there was actually snow on that planet at one point?
Jakku was Hoth?
And then maybe not necessarily Hoth, but it did inhabit snow at one point, and something happened maybe in the Battle of Endor. I'm not sure how close Endor would be to Jakku, but I mean, in some type of battle, I mean, there are tons of shit. There's starships and there's AT-ATs.
There's Star Destroyers and Super Star Destroyers that were crashed there.
From what I've heard is that there was a battle above Jakku, after the Death Star fell, and it was the rebellion trying to take down what was left of the Empire, the Empire destroyers, what was left.
Okay.
And that's eventually what happened. That's why there's X-Wings in that. They had a battle above Jakku, and that's actually part of the new Star Wars Battlefront game. It shows you that storyline.
And that reminds me, that's another thing that there's another thing that links me from Rey to Luke in that. When she's sleeping next to one of those, I think it's either a destroyer or an AT-AT. I can't remember. Is it I believe she's wearing a Rebel helmet, and I almost want to say that it's Luke's Rebel helmet.
That's Luke's call number on the side.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't tell when I looked at it. I kind of thought, oh, she scavenged a Rebel helmet, but the more the story progressed, and then after watching the end of the film, it made me think, okay, that was Luke's helmet.
Yeah.
And that was another big link to Luke that I thought, okay, maybe that was something that was left to her when she was dropped off, linking her to Luke, basically. So I think that's another thing that leads me to believe that that's Luke's daughter. And also how Han basically befriended her instantly, because Han Solo's never been so trusting so easily.
No.
And
never.
Once he found out that she knew what she was doing and basically got a feel for her, I think his Force sensitivity could kind of detect, kind of feel everything. Not only that, with Leia saying, "May the Force be with you" at the end, it's kind of a thing that's said anyways, but just the way she looked at her, it kind of gives that indication, I know exactly who you are, kind of thing.
That's
and
all.
She didn't want to be the one to say it. She wanted Luke to.
Right.
There's also the new cantina scene. You know, she goes walking off after Finn, my bad. Rey goes walking off after Finn after he decides he doesn't, he confesses he was part of the First Order and that he needs to get away from him and they should be scared. And she takes off after him, and Han's having the conversation with, I forget her name, but it's the new character with glasses.
Miles.
Basically the new Yoda type of mythical figure, yep.
She looks right at Han and is like, who's the girl? And then it cuts away, but Han has to know at that point. And he probably tells her. That's why she, pays a little bit more attention to, where'd she go? Oh, that lightsaber is calling to you?
So, alright, the lightsaber scene. Alright. This kind of also elaborates more on her being Luke's kid. Because it doesn't just show her Luke or anything to do with Luke. It shows her also Anakin stuff. There's some references and callbacks to Anakin Skywalker in there.
Is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
There's voices. There's the original Obi-Wan.
Young Ben Kenobi. Yeah, they brought Ewan McGregor back in, and he recorded some dialogue for that scene, and it's him, young Obi-Wan, talking to Rey.
Wow.
And then they even have a clip from Alec Guinness, old Obi-Wan, and he's talking to Rey.
They had cut that. There's an article J.J. Abrams actually says they had cut it. They had used old dialogue from one of the old movies, and they cut it and placed it in.
And,
that is interesting.
And there's Yoda. Yoda's in there too, and he's talking. But it's not
loud. It's
barely
audible.
Well, see, this is the thing. I expect to see Yoda in the future movies because he's still somebody that Luke can contact. Same with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Force Ghost.
I really think that's something we're gonna see, and that kind of brings me to this new guy, Supreme Leader Snoke.
Snoke.
Yes. A lot of people are saying that he could possibly be the Darth Plagueis, I believe his name is, the guy who was basically the Sith Lord who trained Palpatine.
Yeah, the guy that Palpatine tells a story about him in episode
3.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Yeah, and that story is great because that actually is what Pelagius did. And when
Pelagius, okay.
Yeah. And when Palpatine killed him in his sleep, if I'm not mistaken, that's how he died. Killed him in his sleep.
Supposedly. We'll talk about that theory later.
Palpatine did something else and took that ability from him. So Pelagius couldn't bring himself back. Because he had cheated death I don't know how many times. But he had the ability. He could bring himself back.
Well, and that's why a lot of people think that Snoke could be Pelagius because of the giant scar on his head. Could indicate that maybe could have been what was referred to as the final blow from Palpatine. But, you know, honestly, I've been looking around online, and moviepilot.com is a pretty cool spot. It actually had me, I actually looked at this article about another Sith character named Darth Bane. And that's who they're really trying to hint that Snoke is. Darth Bane is over 1,000 years old, and he has been said to have been dead for a long time. And the reason why it's intriguing is because if you look closely in the scene where Kylo Ren is talking to Snoke, any time basically, it seems like they're in some type of like boneyard trophy room of some sort. You don't really see any type of mech that would show that would display a hologram. Yeah. So a lot of people are starting to speculate that he's not a hologram. He's in fact a Sith Lord ghost. And the reason that he can manifest himself this way is because he is an ancient Sith Lord. But the only thing that kind of deters this from being a possible thing is that Darth Bane in the extended universe was said that he had a rule of two. There could never in order to balance the dark side of the Force, there could never be more than two Sith Lords.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and if this is really who Snoke is, he's broken his rule. But he could be dead, so that might kind of just eradicate the whole implication anyways, because he can't really do anything about it. He's dead. But at the same time, Snoke is the reason why the First Order is as powerful as they are. Basically, they call him Supreme Leader because they've gotten this far with him. So that's why they're trying to indicate that he's alive, but if you look at how he looks, there's no flickering of his, whatever you want to call it, his presence. There's no flickering of it like you see in a lot of the Palpatine / Sidious days when he would talk to Vader.
Yeah,
or any of the Sith. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, there's no tech that would make it look like there was a hologram being projected. So he very well could be the first Sith ghost we've ever seen. And I think that's a really interesting idea. Really interesting idea. Darth Bane, I think, is... I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and it looks relatively similar...
Fester.
To he looks like Uncle Fester with twisted face paint.
Yeah. Oh man, no way. That's spot on. But
that's our stoner moment for the episode.
It actually looks like it goes into like the Old Republic storyline, Knights of the Old Republic, like the beginning of everything.
Yeah. It's
even then there was shit further than that back.
Yeah.
And right here we're looking at what I believe Pelagius is supposed to look like. This is actually what they've shown as he's supposed to have like a tall, long head, and that's why they're saying that Snoke is not Pelagius. Because of this right here. Obviously you guys at home can't see this, but I'm showing the boys a picture that they have. It looks like two different renders, possibly one from the Clone Wars, and then one that looks like it could be from a comic. But yeah, it's definitely not what Snoke looks like. So I think that this theory on him being Darth Bane is actually not a bad spot on theory. I mean,
or wild fucking idea here. Maybe Snoke is new content.
He could be. I mean,
which really just shoot everything that we've been talking about before.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always there's always that option. I mean, there's so many new characters like Captain Phasma. I know you wanted to discuss Captain Phasma.
Oh, don't
like the what is it? I believe she's the first female. I mean, the first we've seen of a female stormtrooper, and she's a damn captain.
But she's
running
not
a battalion.
Stormtrooper.
No.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
Captain Phasma is a fucking bounty hunter.
Okay.
She's hired by the First Order to set up shop, train all of these kids that they're abducting to be soldiers and killers.
This makes perfect sense because they say they kidnapped.
Do you think in your right? Do you think in a stormtrooper's right mind that they would disobey the Empire, especially a ranking captain, right? Disobey the First Order / Empire, right? And lower the defense shields? No, that fucker's gonna take a round and just be like, I'm done, I'm dead.
Right.
Yeah. Now this lady, who's only in it for the money and doesn't really give a shit about who employs her, lowered the shields. Done. And I don't think they killed her when they stuffed her in that trash compactor, because yes, she went to a trash compactor.
Which I think is classic.
But I don't think she died. I think, and if I get louder here, it's because I'm sitting up. But I think she went in there, she found a way out, and she's coming back.
Oh, I believe so too. I believe somebody's gonna find her.
Because she's gonna be bad.
Oh yeah, and she's gonna go on a rampage, and that's gonna be really cool for the next Star Wars film.
This is kind of our Boba, or this new trilogy's Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I can see where you take that, and I hope they give her a suit kind of like his. Not the same. It's got to be its own unique one, but
I really like the one she has now.
Yeah,
I mean it's really cool.
It's that
I really dig it. I like the fact that J.J. Abrams implemented more female roles in this, and I know it was something that was intended. I know J.J. has said it numerous amount of times in interviews that was something he wanted to make sure that was known in this new Star Wars movie, and the new trilogy. It's going to have a lot more of the a lot more female roles, and one of the main roles was a female role. It was beautiful. I loved it.
So they also, it seemed like they had more ranks for the First Order, because there was the normal stormtroopers, then you got like scout troopers, and then you got the ones that have like one shoulder pad that's red, two shoulder pad that's red.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then you have, the assault ones, I believe. They're the weird ones. They back in the day they were like Imperial Guard. They wore red, but now they're like all white. It's kind of more like a sheet look. That's the best way I can put it.
The Emperor's Guards.
Yeah. That's what I said. But
all of those
like
guys are Force sensitive. I hope you know.
They're white now. They're not red anymore.
Yeah.
And that staff that they used, or the wand that the guy used.
The Mandalorian War Baton.
Yes. That was pretty sweet because it looked like it was repelling lightsabers. Like, that was probably one of the most epic scenes is when Finn started fighting him.
So, alright. The reason that thing was repelling that lightsaber is because Finn's not Force sensitive and the lightsaber wasn't fully powered up.
Okay, I can see that.
That's what's going on here, because and you don't know it at the time, but during the fight with Finn and Kylo Ren, Finn was kind of holding his own because he is, let's face it, he is a stormtrooper. He's a trained killer.
Right.
They're not slouches, even though they don't hit shit. I mean, they're not slouches. So he was able to hold his own a little bit against Kylo Ren, who, by the way, got shot by the bowcaster.
Yeah.
The only other time, like you were stating the other day, the only other time you see that thing shot, it decimates what it hits.
Yeah, it blows 5 troopers back with one shot.
Exactly.
So
And
he's
Han's
shot
like,
by Han.
I like this thing.
Which I did love the comedic side of.
So-
The Han Chewie in this was great.
Kylo,
We'll get to that
Kylo
later.
gets shot, right, by this fucking thing.
Unexpectedly.
And he's holding himself together with the Force. Like that's what he's doing in that fight.
Yeah,
that's the
where he's
only
hitting
reason.
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
only reason why Finn was getting any kind of upper hand on him.
Exactly.
Because as soon as the lightsaber got into Rey's hands,
It was over.
it was done. Because she's Force sensitive. She's a fucking Skywalker, and that lightsaber was in full control.
That Skywalker thing's purely speculation. Let's state that. I don't want to piss anybody off.
Also, think about it.
I know I'm already getting hate messages for this.
Right.
She called it to her. Kylo Ren was trying to get it, and she just right past him
Exactly.
and right
That's my
on.
shit. It's my family's lineage. Purely speculation, but
Here's
it's
the
all
thing.
there
It's
for it.
also Ben's family lineage. he's the son of Leia. She's a Skywalker.
Right, exactly.
But the fact that the lightsaber was just like, nah, dog, and went over to Rey.
Right, exactly. And to go back to the whole Darth Bane thing, another thing that they added that I wanted to bring up is the look of his lightsaber is very ancient looking, very vintage, and that was another reason why they pointed out that it could be Darth Bane that is trying to teach Kylo Ren, is because how ancient the sword looked. It looked like it could have been an old prototype for a very old lightsaber.
Here we go. I love this. His sword was made in haste because Luke, when he was a prodigy of Luke told him he wasn't ready for it, so he ran off, and he got his grandfather's broken crystal and threw it together. That's why his lightsaber has the side sabers. Those are actually exhaust vents because his crystal is cracked. That's why his saber cracks and everything, because it's actually got a cracked crystal. If those vents weren't there, that saber would explode because it's so unstable.
Oh wow.
And it actually affects his swing. That's why it seems more like it's ancient, because he wasn't ready, and it was built in haste after he ran off and turned towards the dark side.
So, to add to that, I think I know why he bailed on Luke. And I don't think it was Snoke. Snoke had an influence, yes. But up until the birth of Rey, this is all under the assumption that Rey is the daughter of Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
All right. So, here's a theory. And you notice that usually only the people in Star Wars who speak with British accents generally are the Empire. That's their thing.
Right.
Rey speaks with a British accent. Nobody else really in the movie does. Rey does. There's a theory that Luke fell in love with an Imperial captain. I won't go Imperial captain with this. I think it was Mara Jade. But there's a theory that he falls in love with somebody of the Empire. And they have a child, Rey. Well, the whole time that this is happening, he's training Ben. And Ben believes that he is next in line. There is Luke and Ben. His name is Ben. He's named after Ben Kenobi.
Exactly.
He's the son of a Skywalker because Leia is Luke's brother.
Right.
They're both children of Anakin, who is Darth Vader. Like, there's a lot on Ben's shoulders.
Right.
And he thinks he's hot shit, really. Because of all of this, it goes to his head. He Anakined.
Right.
We're just going to call it that. He Anakined, okay?
He Anakin.
And I'm good on that right now. And so Rey's born, right? And one night, there's Ben, and he's with Luke, and Luke's holding Rey, right? And Luke hands Rey off to Ben and says, "Here, hold your cousin, hold her, feel her power." And he realizes once he's holding this child that that the power that's inside of her is more than his as he is there, right? Because she's the daughter of Luke Skywalker. That, he is Master Jedi at this point.
Right.
And so, of course she's going to be high in midichlorians. She's going to be high in Force. And he gets jealous. And so this is where the Snoke stuff starts coming in, and he makes his bunk fucking lightsaber out of his grandpa's crystals so he can try to carry on that legacy. Yeah. And he goes in to try to take down Rey. End that. And then instead, he kills Luke's lover. Because you have to remember, at this point, there hasn't been a Jedi order in forever. Luke is just trying to do this. So he doesn't know that you're not supposed to be married. You're not supposed to love.
Right.
So, he's just doing the family thing.
Right.
So, Ben goes in, takes down the wife. Luke knows he can't kill Ben. Because if he does, it's out of passion, and it's for revenge, and he'll literally succumb to the dark side.
Well, how does that explain in his vision? You see him killing pupils of Luke. That's the hand on R2-D2, and then there's a pupil, and I can't think of his actual name, but it's an actual known one from
Oh, he totally did all
the
that.
books. Yeah, he kills him, but he's got the Knights of Kylo Ren behind him while he's doing it. So he's already somehow secretly gone to the dark side.
Well, let's go from this theory to the theory that's really been popular on the web. The father theory is what they're calling it. Now, that being said, let's first get to the sad and apparent death of Han Solo, because it was I expected it. I did expect it as soon as he got on that little ledge and faced him. I'm like, he's not. I mean, he's force sensitive, but he ain't that good.
There was a feeling earlier on when he admitted that the Jedi and the Sith and the Force, that it's all real. That was kind of a big clue for me right there that something terrible was happening later.
He reached to his character's point to where he believed he was there. He was beyond believing. He knew everything was there. It was all real, and he's seen what happened and and how history's repeating itself and everything. And basically, the theory is that Kylo Ren, aka Ben, is secretly working with everybody else to take down the remaining Sith Lords in the First Order, and basically bring balance to the Force by joining the dark side. But to truly join the dark side, one has to kill somebody that they love. Hence the scene where where Ben tells him that he's very conflicted, and that he needs to do something, and he asks for his help. And Han says anything, and that's when he strikes him in the chest or the lower gut or wherever he hits him with the lightsaber. So, I'm not sure if I'm covering the entire father theory, but that's basically it. And then at the end, close to the end of the movie, there after the battle with Rey, Snoke tells one of the other characters to bring Kylo Ren to him so he can finish his training, basically solidifying him as becoming a Sith Lord. So now that Rey's found her way to the side of the light, basically it seems like it's all falling into the place that we may see a complete balance of the Force and the First Order eradicated with this whole father theory. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know what you guys think about it.
It sounds interesting. It's
does.
better than the one I thought you were about to bring up.
Oh, no. I'm not going to bring that theory up right now.
It seems like it could go a bunch of ways at this point, though. It really could.
Yeah. Honestly, that could be... honestly, what I think will happen, in my personal opinion, is that will be the original motive, and that Kylo Ren will eventually get to Vader and just strive too much, because that was one of his fears, according to Rey, when she started getting her Force abilities, that she says, you're afraid that you're not going to be as powerful as Darth Vader. So it's like, at that point, you're kind of like, okay, well, I mean, and then also, this whole father theory would also explain why Kylo Ren is so fucking emo. Honestly, he's seriously a really fucking emo character. Like, I won't call him a Sith Lord, because he's not a Sith Lord. We may see him as a Sith Lord in the next film, which will be pretty epic, but...
I have a real problem with that helmet. That helmet, man. Ugh. Whoever was in charge of designing that, they need to be gunned down behind the chemical sheds. Awkward, nervous laughter.
It wasn't... I don't know. I didn't seem it that bad. The voice was worse than the helmet.
Yeah.
His voice was bad, yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't. I thought the helmet was alright. The whole getup wasn't too bad.
Like, before you see him, he's totally worse.
Yeah.
He sounds like a badass. He's a badass. He's Kylo fucking Ren. He stopped those blaster around him.
It's just that the normal voice that comes out of when he takes his helmet off. You're like, how does that even how do those two even go together? There's no way that he sounds like that.
Now, I know you wanted to talk about the Wookiee Rage.
Oh my God! Yeah. All right. So
The Chewbacca.
friend of yours, Brandon, he brought it up, and he coined the perfect title for it. Called it Wookiee Rage.
Wookiee Rage.
Like,
Hashtag that Wookiee Rage. Hashtag Wookiee Rage.
So Chewbacca goes fucking ape shit when Han gets killed, and manages to shoot Kylo Ren. That's insane. Caught him off guard, shot him with the bowcaster, knocked that dude on his ass, killed like 3 stormtroopers, and walked the fuck out and detonated the place.
Didn't even give a fuck about Finn or Rey.
Yeah, he did not care.
Yeah, no, he was like, I'm out.
But there's the thing.
So here's where it gets worse, right? Chewbacca gets so fucked over at the end of this movie, man. Gets completely fucked. So everybody lands back at the Resistance stronghold, right? The we'll call it Sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
And everybody gets out of the ships and everything. Where does Leia go first? She's Force sensitive. She knows Han's dead. Where does Leia go first? She goes and hugs Rey. Walks right past Chewbacca. Like, fuck you, dog. I'm gonna go hug this new girl.
You're right.
But
Chewbacca's been there since episode 3. Like, right after episode 3 is where Han and Chewie are like, hey, what's up, bruh?
Right.
Anyway, that's exactly the point, is he's kind of caught off guard because he had just killed his father, and they made the point to flash to Leia and show that she felt it, but as it flashed back to him, it was as if he was even feeling it, that he could feel that death.
They have, well, I mean, from what I understand, Chewbacca had basically a blood oath. He basically owed his life to Han Solo, hence why he was there through thick and thin. So basically, when Han died, Chewbacca had no fucking reason to live anymore. Hence why that would explain exactly why he didn't give a fuck about Rey or Finn or anybody. He fucking was like, oh, I'm going to pop shot this son of a bitch who killed him. and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. Then I'm going to blow the place up and hopefully he dies with it. And that's that. I mean, it was a good attempt, but it didn't work.
I enjoyed his moment of rage. And then I really didn't like the fact that they screwed him so hard afterwards.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're talking like third act of the movie now, like probably halfway through it. It's getting close to the end,
Oh,
and here's...
No, it's basically the end, actually.
Yeah.
This is the end, yeah.
It's still third act, though, and you get your saber duel, the only one in the entire film. Yes, there's a saber that's passed off between Finn and Rey, but still, it's the only saber duel you actually see. There's plenty of saber talk. There's plenty of actual sabers earlier on. You see him slice someone up towards the beginning, but it's mostly just him having a shit fit cutting into computer banks, which he's lucky none of them were actual important computer banks that control that
Hence
shit.
the emo-ass Kylo Ren.
I wonder if he's having My Chemical Romance. Just like...
How could this happen to me?
Just slicing into the bank.
Ray got away. I can't find BB-8.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I could do this for days.
That's good. That is fucking great.
All right, I think it's time to get to a top 3 list.
Ooh, what do we got?
I think we should do the top 3 Jedi or Sith, and I'll let you guys go ahead and start. Randy, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, start with the third one, and just go ahead and give me a reason for it if you got one. If you don't, just say he was number 3. Who gives a fuck?
Okay. Well, my number 3 is Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he's actually fairly important to the whole storyline.
Oh,
I mean,
he's ridiculously important.
He helps give Luke and teach him at least a little bit before he passes on. I mean,
Oh, he did more. I mean,
I know.
He guided
I know.
Anakin too, but I mean,
a lot with
and that's
Anakin.
why I think he tried to do right with Luke is because he felt he failed with Anakin.
well,
I was just
he's
trying
still-
to not reference the prequels.
he still trained Luke a lot, though. I mean, he was with him through Empire and Return.
Well,
of the Jedi.
basically, when we go on topic with these podcasts,
Yeah.
I want to encompass everything, the extended universe.
I
I
know.
don't care if it's considered canon or not. I still want to talk about it and discuss this.
Dude, I'm not afraid to admit it. I like the prequels. I fucking hate Attack of the Clones.
Revenge of the Sith, I thought was amazing.
Yes, that one was great.
That one impressed me incredibly.
But the thing is, they kind of started off a little stumbly, and it was partially because of Jar
like
Jar
Jar
Binks
Jar
and
Binks.
not a whole lot of action.
We'll get to that later.
But then Clone Wars was their chance to redeem, and they kind of just made it too much talk at the council and a lot of looking at stuff and nothing really important.
No, they mainly wanted to impress everybody with a giant Jedi battle at the end of the movie, basically. That was supposed to be the big awe, was that you're just seeing lightsabers everywhere in this giant fucking cave. And in reality, it's just actors just...
It wasn't too impressive, but I did like Revenge of the Sith. I went and
Revenge of the
seen
Sith was amazing.
Do you want to buy some death sticks? You don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. I want to go home and rethink my life. All right, so who's your number two?
But number 2 is a Sith, and it's Darth Maul.
Oh, baller.
I'm sorry, but Darth Maul had way more potential. They spent him way too early. I mean,
Well, I think that's why in the Clone Wars, they decided to bring him back with apparently 8 legs. I did not know that until earlier today.
well,
Fucking Spider-Man, kind of.
I'm not sure on that entirely,
I'll
but
Google that shit. I don't care.
well, okay, as he does that.
And we want to remind everybody, if there's any inconsistencies with our storylines, feel free to call us out. We want to know the absolute truth, and we will make sure it's known. So if we have anything that we missed or something that is kind of refuculated, as we like to call it, and not quite, we smoke a lot of weed here during these podcasts. If you haven't listened, by all the lighter flicks and, oh man, that's gone, and pack another one, bro. So I mean, that's gonna happen. But if we misinform, please let us know. Let us know in the comments below.
All right, man. Darth Maul, okay? I'm sorry. Wasn't 8 legs. But he...
It's 2 and they're metal.
No, they're not. What the shit?
Is it his normal legs?
No. Oh, my God. Wikipedia just fucked up on me. But he ended up with a cybernetic set of 6 legs. And
6?
Not 8. He had 6. He had 6 legs.
Okay, well that's crazy, and they
Fuck
should have just
Wikipedia.
gave him 2
I'm gonna say it on the
normal legs.
podcast. Fuck Wikipedia.
It was actually the Wikipedia. But
Wikipedia.
The Star Wars Wikipedia.
All right, let's go with your number 1.
And my number 1, I have to, is Luke.
Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we all know why. Because he's just fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the hero of heroes. I mean, he's still kicking. He's around, and now he's staring at people on a cliffside.
Yeah.
And apparently he's the hide and seek champion, 1982
Yes.
to 2015. Man, that's a fucking long run. Good job, Luke Skywalker.
I can't wait to see what comes next, though. Episode 8 is going to be amazing. And you know he's there right from the beginning because
Yes.
he was
We're-
right at the end.
Oh, yeah. You think he's gonna die?
He's gonna die in that movie.
I honestly think he might die eventually, but I don't know. I think that's
And I
something.
think it's gonna be Kylo Ren that takes him down.
Maybe
We'll see.
we might see that whole "if you strike me, I will become." We might see that exact scene. Just, oh man, wouldn't that give Kylo Ren a boner? He'd be like, "Ooh, I just pulled a Darth Vader." Ooh.
Alright, so my top 3, I guess?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, well my number 3 is his number 1, Luke Skywalker.
Right on.
Alrighty.
I don't really have to justify that. It's Luke fucking Skywalker, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
But here's where it gets weird. Number 2, Jedi Master Plo Koon.
Ooh.
He had an orange lightsaber.
Orange lightsaber.
He had an orange. That's why he's cool. Now, No, I mean, that was one of the best scenes in Attack of the Clones, and that hurts to say. But there was like one of the best scenes in Attack of the Clones was Plo Koon just beating the fuck out of like 4 or 5 of those the Geonosian guys.
Geonosian guys.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't know some of the extended universe. My list is gonna be very basic, bitch. Just to let you guys know, because I've really only seen the movies. I've only seen season 1 of the Clone Wars cartoons. Like I said, my list will be very basic, bitch, compared to these guys.
All right, now my number 1, Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
Yeah, call that shit.
You can't go wrong with Mace Windu. Okay.
Oh, Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson pulled that off. Like, that character is pretty cut and dry, and Sam Jackson was like intrigued.
Right. I think the way he went out was fucked.
It was.
That was fucked.
I think Mace Windu deserved a way better way to get fucked.
Yeah.
You know what pisses me off?
Because I mean, he was gonna get fucked either way, but that was a fucky fucked. I guess we could say.
You know what pissed me off more about that scene?
What's that?
Was the fact that there was a moment where Mace is like looking at Anakin like, "Dog, help me," and you can see it in Anakin's eyes, like, "This is it. I can turn back right now, and all would probably be forgiven."
It's so true, too.
It is. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, it's all over now. I might as well go kill some younglings.
Yeah. Let's go
God, that
murder.
does happen right after it, doesn't it?
Immediately.
Master Annie, what's going on?
He was hacking and whacking and stacking.
They don't show you it, but you know it's terrible.
All right, so my turn for the top 3 here.
I always just thought it was hacking, whacking, and stacking.
I got a mix. My top 3 is actually a mix of your guys's and then a little extra flavor, basically.
Alrighty.
My number 3 is Mace Windu, because I mean, I literally give it to Sam Jackson for going that long through a movie trilogy and not saying one motherfucker. Like, not one.
And rocking a purple lightsaber.
Yeah, well, that was a bit racist, but, I mean, he said, "Who likes grape soda, bitch?"
Well,
Wow.
it's amazing.
I thought it was funny. I thought that was quite racist that they gave the black dude the purple lightsaber. Like, it's basically like making the black guy the grape in the Fruit of the Loom commercials, which they do. It's incredibly racist. And then for my number 2, I went with Darth Maul, because honestly, if it wasn't for that fight, the Phantom Menace would have been a huge flop to me.
Yeah.
Very true.
And honestly, Darth Maul, as far as Sith Lords go, the look of Darth Maul, his sweet ass double lightsaber, the fact that he could take on 2 Jedi at once and manage, and actually be able to come out with at least half of them dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
He
true.
was batting one. Yeah.
But I mean, he did pretty damn well. If that was a solo fight, he probably would have took one of them. You know what I mean? He would have had enough energy and strength to kill either Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan. He took out the strongest one first.
There was even a
You know what
pause
I
where
mean?
Qui-Gon was like meditating to build himself back up, and he still was like, "Bet."
In my opinion, at that point, I think that was Qui-Gon knowing his demise and getting ready and preparing to be able to manifest into a ghost. I think that's my personal opinion. I don't know if anybody else shares that or if anybody else said that online, but that's just something I thought about. 'Cause I actually just watched that battle today.
It seems actually legitimate. It does.
But I mean, you never know. For my number 1, I'm gonna go with Darth Vader. I
could see why you did.
Like, honestly, as far as the first 3 films, 4 through 6 go, like, he was just, I mean, he was the fear of the galaxy, basically. That's why, Palpatine, Sidious, he pushed him to the end. He pushed him to, do everything he could to make sure that the fucking Death Star. Basically, he was the evil face to spread fear before they could make a space station that could spread fear for them. That's basically what Darth Vader was. And like his whole rise to be, I mean, regardless of how the prequels were, his whole rise to becoming Darth Vader was quite epic. Because I mean, seeing him from Phantom Menace as a really bright, pod racer, and going from him slaughtering a whole shit ton of sand people because they killed his mom, and then immediately marrying somebody, even though he wasn't allowed to, like, just the whole ups and downs of Anakin Skywalker, I thought is basically, I mean, not only is it most of the story of Star Wars thus far, I mean, it even carries on into The Force Awakens, because Kylo Ren's trying to fall into Anakin's footsteps, so there's going to be links to the past with that. But, like, I think, he's just a very pivotal character, and he's just epic. I mean, James Earl Jones is the voice. You can't go wrong with that shit. That's terrifying. Yeah. Especially when you were a young kid. I remember watching that shit when I was a kid, and I'm like, this dude's a badass, rocking a German helmet, talking like, I will squeeze you with my thoughts.
Oh, yeah. You're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Used to watch it all the time because that's my sister and my brother-in-law. She's like 13 years older than me, but they always played it when I'd go over to stay at their house. So I've seen the original trilogy so many times, and I think that's why I like it so much more than the prequels. But the prequels are good in their own way. They could have been better.
Oh yeah, a lot of people share that.
Except for episode 2.
A lot of people share that.
Episode 2 was fucked.
I honestly think Phantom Menace was worse, personally.
Really?
Because, yeah, alright, I honestly, not only was the big awe of the whole Jedi battle, like, because when I was a kid, I thought it was cool. You saw a whole, like, you never see more than, like, 2 or 3 Jedi battling at the same time in a Star Wars film. When you see a whole battle, like a whole war of Jedi versus just clone troopers, that is fucking epic. That is fucking absolutely epic, dude. Like, it was cool. And not only that, like, you got to see Yoda be badass for the first time ever. Like, Yoda's cool as fuck. You get to see him in the first 3 films raise a fucking X-Wing and do some cool shit when he's training Luke. But you never get to see him fight. You get to see him fight in this. And that, I thought, was a badass. He said, I'm not going to grab my lightsaber. I'm going to have it come to me, and I'm going to show you how Yoda gets down.
I liked Yoda and Palpatine better than I liked Yoda and Dooku.
Oh, yeah, that fight was more epic, agreed. But, like...
Sidious just throwing
But I'm talking about in the mind state of Revenge of the Sith wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
So you saw that, and that was the first glimpse you had of Yoda being badass, and you're like, fuck yeah, thank you. This is way better than Phantom Menace. Fuck yeah. And like that right. That's my reasoning for saying that Phantom Menace is worse.
I'll give you that.
And then you got more Yoda badassness in Revenge of the Sith, which...
Yeah, because...
Him and Obi-Wan kicking ass trying to get back into the Jedi Temple after
Anakin had
already slaughtered all the younglings.
That whole sequence with him and Palpatine, though, man. When Palpatine's throwing the platforms that the delegates would sit on and float around.
Yeah.
Like, he's just lobbing them at Yoda, and Yoda's just like, no, fuck that.
All right, so let's get to one of our last topics here, and this is something that I think Alan fears more than anything ever.
God.
This is
only because I legitimately like the character.
Well, most people don't. This is basically the theory that Jar Jar Binks is the ultimate Sith Lord, possibly Pelagius, I believe it is, or even somebody else that is above even Palpatine, and that he was basically manipulating everybody from the Phantom Menace through, basically. So this theory is ridiculous when you think about it. Because honestly, I thought how most people thought when Jar Jar Binks came out, what a terrible, terrible attempt at a comical relief in a Star Wars film.
I know, you already had C-3PO and R2-D2. Why did you need more comic relief?
Yeah, especially since you were witnessing C-3PO's origin at least. Did they show R2-D2's origin in Phantom? It's been a while since I've seen it, so
he was just there.
Yeah, okay. So but you basically get to see the origin of 3PO, so it's like you could have just went with that as the comical relief. But basically the theory was that that's part of the reason why the Dooku battle just kind of came out of nowhere instead of Yoda. It's speculated that instead of Yoda trying to fight Dooku at the end of Clone Wars, he was supposed to fight Jar Jar, but he got such a terrible rap from everybody, basically all the fans, that George Lucas chickened out.
George Lucas shoehorned in fucking Christopher Lee into his worst role.
Yeah,
and I guess there is kind of an origin story, because if you don't remember, it's when they're trying to get away from the Trade Federation and their ships being damaged. They have the droids go out to fix it, and that's when you first see R2-D2. He's one of the last droids out there, and he's the only droid that survives, and he actually fixed the ship and comes back in.
He's a Nubian manufactured R2.
Yeah, and that I think that's the time where Jar Jar is actually messing. They actually show that in this this Reddit, that it shows him messing with something, and R2 actually sees him doing something manipulative, and he bumps into him, and that's basically showing you that he may be the strongest in the Force in the universe, but he can't manipulate robots, can't manipulate droids.
That's why all the robots find him odd.
Exactly, he has every interaction with the droids he has, it's always negative. No matter if it's a good droid or some type of battle droid fighting against him.
They're working on the pod later on in the movie. And C-3PO looks at R2-D2 and goes, I find that Jar Jar creature a little odd. And the noises that R2 makes are not nice.
No.
I know.
And this Reddit, it's called The Original Theory by Lampawaru, I believe it is how it's pronounced. But that's where you can find this theory, and there's a lot of proof that sounds very solid that this could be true, that he could be Palpatine. I mean, like, he's using hand gestures when he's getting promoted on Naboo, and not only that, when he gets promoted in the Senate, he's using hand gestures. Not only that, when he's basically in Revenge of the Sith, he's basically convincing an entire Federation to stop democracy and kill it, and basically make Palpatine the Emperor. Like that, he's using hand motions while doing all this shit. And the entire time you see him after the Phantom Menace, basically, when he gets into that type of power, you never see him leave Palpatine's side. Never. He's always, even when Qui-Gon's dead in Phantom Menace, he's standing next to Palpatine, sobbing. He supposedly never met him at that point. But the most interesting thing is that Palpatine and Jar Jar Binks are both from Naboo. Yep. They both are from Naboo. They're out of all the planets and out of all the characters to be from the same planets. Those two happen to be the same. They both from. Yeah, I
have a lot of problems with that.
And like, see, it keeps fitting in certain pieces. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Well, I mean, there's a lot more on this Reddit, and like, it's pretty interesting. It shows you examples, basically showing you how the Jedi are based off of Buddhist monks' techniques, and then they're going with Jar Jar basically with the drunken fist style. Making him quite powerful, and then it shows him all his flubs that he's done throughout the first movie, the Phantom Menace there, and it's just everything fits together to make it seem like he's a clumsy asshole, but in reality, he's really very deceptive. Like, there's something going on, regardless if he's Sith Lord or not. There's something wrong about him that they really tried to do. I don't know. I don't get it. But that's basically the theory on it, that he's actually above Palpatine and could possibly be the one who trained Palpatine.
And they were gonna treat the Jedi. This is speculation at this point, because it's already happened, like back in 2002. But there was a theory that they were going to treat his reveal kind of like the "I'm your father" reveal from Empire Strikes Back, to where the second film, i.e. Attack of the Clones, they were going to have him just appear as the main bad guy. Like, yeah, I'm the guy who set all this shit up. This is me. What's up? And then Yoda and him were going to fight. And that would have been bad.
Well, that's because as I believe it was a George Lucas interview, he referred to Yoda as a mythical creature that is found on the side, like an old creature is found walking on the side of the road, that seems to not be significant in any way, shape, or form, but in all reality happens to be the Grand Master Wizard or the master object of and that's basically what was supposed to happen in these 3 films of the prequels. They were supposed to mirror the original trilogy, and so we were supposed to see that, and a lot of people believe that was Jar Jar. So that's another way that it fits into this theory.
There's also a behind the scenes snippet on Phantom Menace, and
Jar Jar dying.
No, you can hear it. There's a part where they're behind the scenes, and George Lucas he's kind of frustrated about something, but he says Jar Jar has to work.
Jar Jar is the key.
Jar Jar is the key.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, that is interesting. But there's also a deleted scene from Phantom Menace when they're getting to Naboo and they're getting out of the ship there. There's the waterfall.
He doesn't actually die.
Yeah, he doesn't die. He just acts like he's sad and like he's gonna drown, even though it's already been known and it's shown later that he can not only swim and breathe underwater, but he can jump over 20 feet. So it was an inconsistency, which I think was the reason why they cut it out of the film. Basically, it was supposed to be him adding to his ruse and being helpless and stupid. But it was just way too obvious.
He doesn't actually go over
he doesn't actually go over it.
Oh no, I seen one where he actually goes over it.
That's got to be doctored, because the DVD cut of it just shows the thing go.
We have our first dispute. Somebody get on the comments below and tell us what's what.
Please, because I've totally seen one where he goes over, and I was like, no way.
I'm YouTubing the shit.
That's we're gonna handle the dispute. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do it. But I think we're getting to the close of this one. The very first nerdy podcast.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we are an hour and 5 in.
Yeah, we are, and it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. We love talking nerdy. So if you guys like it, subscribe to our YouTube. I'm sure we'll branch out to a couple other places eventually if this gets to be a thing. So we need you to make it a thing, though. So comment, let us know what you think. If you have any discrepancies, you want a nerd battle, you want to join us next time, possibly. Let us know if you're around. Shit, if you're local, hit us up. We love to have experts and talk on the topics and whatnot. So basically, I think what we have left is our last top 3 list, and it's going to be top 3 lightsabers of all time.
I'd like to start this one.
You like to start this one? Okay.
So I'm just gonna go right now. Number 3, my number 3 favorite lightsaber, the Anakin Skywalker, the one that Luke ends up.
And then Rey eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nice because it's the lightsaber.
It's pivotal. Honestly, and storyline wise, it's very pivotal.
Yeah. But this is where I go like way off the rails. My number 2 is Count Dooku's, his notched one.
Yeah.
It made for a really funky fight style for him, and I thought that was kind of nifty.
I think it was. I honestly believe that it was a mimic of like fencing, like the rapier sword.
Yeah, it was
like a French fencing weapon. I think honestly that was supposed to be like the futuristic version of what that would become. That's my opinion. I really don't know or if that was what it was based off of, but that's what it seems like to me anyways. From the first time I saw it, I thought, okay.
And yeah, I know I'm bitching, or I was bitching about the movie, and then here I am talking about the lightsaber, but the lightsaber didn't really make or break the movie. It was the character itself. I fucking hate Count Dooku.
Right.
But the lightsaber was dope.
Okay.
My number 1, though, Darth Maul's. That lightsaber...
Double-sided.
Dumb. Just so dumb. I was going to say a character from Knights of the Republic, but, that's not really canon anymore. So, yeah, Darth Maul's lightsaber is dope. And then it gets chopped in half, and I believe at one point he can use them both.
Oh, well, I believe he loses. I just watched the battle today. He loses one, and he just starts using a single lightsaber.
And it's almost like he gets more powerful when that happens.
I don't know. I think it seems like he tries to Stoner brain.
Oh,
I think he
that
tries
is-
to compensate when he's battling for his body movement because he's so used to using a double-sided lightsaber.
Also, he actually gets more
I think
clumsy.
he gets sloppier, and I think that's why Obi-Wan is able to strike him. Well, not only that, because he believes he's beat because he's down that tunnel for a second. But I mean, still, that's just my opinion, pure speculation. But yeah, I think he gets a little clumsier, honestly.
Huh.
They're known as saber staffs, the double-sided ones.
Saber staffs.
Yep.
Who's
Okay. You want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. My number 3 fit exactly with my number 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi's.
Yeah.
Kind of dig his lightsaber.
And it makes you wonder because he had a blue lightsaber in A New Hope, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he lost his blue lightsaber at Phantom Menace, and he used Qui-Gon's to kill Darth Maul. So it makes you wonder if he crafted a new blue lightsaber or if he actually found his lightsaber.
Because he had it in Clone Wars, and then he had it in Revenge of the Sith. He
Right.
used his blue lightsaber to hack up Annie.
Right.
You know, it's weird because
Or at that
that's
point,
probably
Darth
like an
Vader.
inconsistency maybe
Uh-huh.
at this point where they just expect you to do that. But I think it's weird that a Jedi Master like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't blue an apprentice lightsaber color? What?
That's a good
So
question.
why would a Jedi Master want a blue lightsaber? Notice nobody on the Jedi Council has a blue lightsaber.
Well, I mean, Mace had a purple one, and maybe he preferred. Honestly, maybe he felt it was a tribute to Qui-Gon to stay blue.
Now, what were you saying? Jedi Knight? Is that what you're saying? Is
Yeah,
blue?
apprentice, Padawan.
Apprentice would be blue.
Padawan.
Padawan lightsabers are
Padawan's
blue, and
Most of the Jedi Masters are green,
yeah, Jedi
except for
Jedi-
Mace Windu's.
or Jedi Knights. Jedi Knights are green, and then Mace Windu's is a Sentinel.
Is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then the orange is something else. Dead air. Just,
Yeah, but Anakin's is he's a Jedi Master too, isn't he?
Anakin never made it to become a Jedi Master. He was a Padawan learner.
Yeah, and then
What
he switched
about-
to the dark side.
He was still a Padawan during.
Yes.
He never passed. He never took the trials.
No.
Dead air.
Okay. I mean, I must just be.
All right, let's continue with the list. Who's your number 2?
Okay, my 2 was his number 1 with the saber staff, Maul.
Maul.
Yep.
Maul.
And then my number 1 is the lightsaber that we've seen through 3 generations now. It'd be Anakin's, which became Luke's, which is now
Rey's.
Rey's.
And then possibly back to Luke, because it looked like she was like, here, I don't want this shit.
I don't want this.
Yeah.
Fuck this wand staff
Well, you
thing.
know he's gonna tell her to keep it. He's gotta have one.
Okay.
I hope it's green. It better be the one from Return of the
Return.
Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to see. Yeah.
Because he even upgraded his lightsaber.
Yep, exactly.
He built one, it blew up, and then he built the green
I
one.
want the backstory of how that lightsaber was found, like the actual backstory, not the book wise, because I understand what that is.
Well, if they show it in the movies, it won't be like the book. I think they're only taking certain aspects of the book.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, Han and Leia's kid does go, their son does go full dark side in the books.
But it wasn't Ben.
No,
it was
it-
Anakin.
No, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, his name's Anakin. Yeah,
and also
I
apparently
know a little bit of that, but not much.
after his hand in the saber fall, it gets found and cloned,
Yeah.
and then he's Luke with 2 U's, and Luke's wife is actually brainwashed and trained to kill him and ends up killing his clone, and then she gives the lightsaber to him, which leads to the question of how did it get in that crate? Did he leave it there because he knew it was going to happen that way?
Right. Maybe. I mean,
But
he's a Jedi Knight now, so.
that's from the books, so
All right.
completely different subject.
All right, well, I'm going to go to my top 3. Basically, once again, it's a mix of you guys. We're basically on the same level as far as top 3 lists. So, my number 3 is Darth Maul. That the double-edged lightsaber is kick-ass. It was really cool, and like I said, Maul himself and his lightsaber really made made that movie watchable for me. Because, I mean, yes, it was interesting to see C-3POs come up. Yes, it was interesting to see the pod race, and in that fight basically made that movie, and that was it. A lot of it was just kind of blech. But anyways, I'm going to go to number 2. Right on with you guys on the blue lightsaber, Anakin's, Luke's, and then Rey's. Is very important in the storyline, very historic, I guess, and legendary within the Star Wars series. So that's why it's on my number 2 list. And my number 1, I have to go with Count Dooku's sword.
Really?
I really enjoyed that sword.
It is.
The lightsaber was actually, I don't know, there was something about it. I was like, man, that was really cool. And like, I remember being a kid seeing that on the racks at like Toys R Us or something like that. I'm like, look at that shit. It's like nobody wants to buy that shit. I was like, I want to buy that shit. You know, saw it for $2 eventually after like 3 years of it being on the damn shelf.
I'm surprised nobody said Yoda's. But honestly, Yoda's lightsaber is just a youngling lightsaber.
Yeah, it's a short.
It's a half saber or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I went for style, and mainly with the blue one, just the history of the saber itself was why I said that. But
so blue lightsabers,
Are Padawans.
yeah, and they're meant to protect users.
yeah, and that, you know, honestly, I think honestly him staying blue, Obi-Wan, I think it was an ode to Qui-Gon. I think that's what it was, because I don't think he never really fully got his training either.
Mm-hmm.
Not through Qui-Gon. So he basically went, okay, well, I'm going to take on Anakin as my apprentice now. So technically he says he's a Jedi Knight in A New Hope.
But
So
he never passed the trials.
But maybe technically he never passed. Maybe Yoda finishes his training in between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would still ask the question, where is a green lightsaber at? You know? But yeah, I don't know. That is a really good question.
Well, maybe also it doesn't matter, because think about this: when you see the younglings practicing, there's a mixture of green and blues with younglings too.
You know, all right. Honestly, a lot of that could be chalked up to George Lucas. Just I don't give a fuck. Special
I don't
effects.
care.
Special effects.
New movies, give me money.
Steven Spielberg's dick. Special effects. Like, come on.
Right.
There's a lot of those 3D rendered scenes. Like, we didn't need this. Why the fuck did we need this?
This is so true. So true.
All right, well, I think it's time to wrap up this first podcast of ours. We thank you for joining us. Talking nerdy. I don't know.
I kind of enjoyed the Fellowship of the Nerd.
I don't know. It might be taken. We're gonna probably, by the time we release this, we'll have the name of our show. So we'll hopefully you'll enjoy it. We don't really know what it is yet. We're actually kind of waiting for somebody special to give us a particular name. So we'll reveal more later. But you guys have a good night, good day, whatever time you're listening to this. It's been a fun podcast. As the new moderator, I'm Shane.
I'm Al.
And I'm Randy.
And we are out of here.
Wubba lubba dub dub!